Welcome to the Stack of Stats podcast. It is Friday, November 19th. Pam Maldonado here, joined by Kelly Stewart, otherwise known as Kelly in Vegas. And we are here to bring you our 5 against the spread contest picks for week 11 of the NFL. Kelly, after going 1-4 in a few weeks ago, we had a huge bounce back. We went 4-1 last week. Well, 2 weeks ago, we went 3-2 last week. For now, what are we on the season? We're doing well on the season. We are profitable, but we are still searching for that 5-0. Time is running out. What are you thinking?
I think this week's card is really, really ugly, Pam. I hate it. Outside of about 2 games. You and I usually text on Wednesday with kind of a long list of where we both are, right? And then I'm like, okay, great. Well, we've got some things in common. Every once in a while, we're like, holy crap, we're complete opposite. And every once in a while, we're completely in sync. And this just seems like one of those weeks where I don't think it's going to be hard for us to find 5 because I don't have any really big opinions outside of basically 2 bets. I have another 1A, 1B type of scenario where I love 2 games. And then I've got a third one that I already bet that I'm not necessarily in love with. We'll see how the cookie crumbles on that one. But man, you've got like 8 or 9 games you sent me and I'm like, well, I don't disagree, but with, I think maybe 2 of them. So there's a lot to sift through here in the next half hour. I'm excited to see what we come up with.
So the reason why I sent you a long list is because I'm on the exact same boat that you are. There's 1 or 2 that I absolutely love, and I have no idea what the freak else to do with the rest of it. So I'm sending you my list of, hey, let's see if we match on anything because I got nothing. So maybe if we can do your best 2, my best 2, then we can come up with a 5th a little bit easier. I did just check it out, and we are 30-20 on the season. Hey, that's a good season. I still want that 5-0 for whatever reason. I am just chasing it. That is like my validation that we're on the right track despite having good weeks.
Look, we still have what do we have? 6 weeks left. We've got it. It's going to happen. 5-0 is tough. The good news is it's just as hard to go 0-5 as it is to go 5-0. We don't have one of those either. So
you are facts.
That is a good thing. And I always tell people when they're partners in any type of contest, right? So Brett and I had the proxy service for a really long time. When I went to work at Barstool, I basically passed it all along to him, which has been great because I still have this like great relationship with so many of our proxy customers, right? And they always ask me, Kelly, what is your best advice? My best advice is to kind of do what you and I are doing and spend some time and talk through the games. I've seen guys where there's 5 guys in the group and they each pick a game. And it's and I've seen them win, the Westgate Super Contest before. And then there's times where, I've had, we had the $1 million winners a couple of years ago at Westgate, and they're best friends from high school. And they literally would talk for like a couple hours every single week. And they agreed if one person disliked a game, it was just off the card. And so there's kind of some real strategy here. And I don't know what the best answer is, but you and I have basically already agreed we're going to be teammates again next year. So we're going to figure out what works best for us. Yes, we're going to figure out what's worked best for us this year as teammates and definitely make another push next year. It is really difficult. 5 games against the spread is so hard, Pam.
It is. And I already, like you said, I already locked you in for next year. I called shotgun on that because I really enjoy this. First off and foremost, I really enjoy this because NFL, I didn't start watching NFL until 2017 season. Before that, I didn't know anything about Tony Romo. I don't know anything that happened before 2017. I really genuinely don't. I grew up in Texas, so I can tell you that the Cowboys maybe did well some years. I'm not sure. Whatever my dad says. Whatever my dad says. One of those things. Yeah. But like outside of that, it was college football all for me. So every year I've been trying to like find my own process within the NFL. Warren Sharp is probably the only football person that I trust. I've told you about him many times before and how he's kind of helped me with my process, and you have definitely helped. This is why I love this, because you just said it. It is talking it through, and I am learning from you. I hope that I'm able to like provide something for extra insight that maybe you didn't know otherwise. But I've just really enjoyed this. This back and forth has been really enjoyable. I've learned a bit. I hope our viewers learned a little bit. More so than anything, I like you said, we don't have a 0-5. I'm happy with that too. Let's go out for 5-0. Just a reminder of what it is that we are doing. We're putting together 5 against the spread contest picks in the NFL each and every week. Automatically in is Kelly's best best bet automatically in is my best bet. And then together we come up with a 3. This week, it may be a little bit tougher because I don't think we exactly love 5 games. So here we are with our Kelly's best bet. She is doing really well on the season. Vikings +3 at the LA Chargers. What have you say about this game?
So Pam, edit that because that was last week. This is my best bet for this week. The Vikings at home to the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
And listen, I'm not going to overthink this one. Last week, the Vikings got it done for me. And it is because the Vikings do better being hunted. That underdog mentality is what Coach Zimmer thrives off of. And what we saw over the last basically 18 months of NFL and how the stadiums have had no fans, now the fans are back, is that true home field advantages exist for certain teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, and third, the Minnesota Vikings. If you've never been to a game in Minneapolis, I highly recommend it. That place gets rocking. It gets so much fun. The horns get going. Everybody gets nuts. And you know what? They're going to be especially nuts for this week against the 9-0 against the spread Green Bay Packers. And I say that because they faltered week 1 to the Saints, but ever since then, they have made their backers so much money. I'm loving the reverse line movement in this one, Pam. That means this line opened up 2.5. The whole world's betting the Packers, but guess what? The line is dropping, and that means sharp money is coming in on the side that I like. I did bet this 2.5. I did put Minnesota in a teaser. I did bet this on the money line. Coach Zimmer, 10-4 against the spread as a home dog in his head coaching career, and that is 4-0 in divisional games as an underdog. So look, I know that it doesn't happen very often. The Vikings are home dogs, and hey, they may even go off as a pick 'em here. I believe we are getting 2.5, if not 2 in the contest.
1.5. 1.5.
1.5 in the contest. Okay, perfect. Because this game's headed to a pick 'em in my opinion. And I like I said, I'm not going to overthink it. I did want to go with, and we'll get into it in a minute, I did want to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers after what happened last week, but without knowing if it's going to be Big Ben or Mason Rudolph, I wanted to wait to bet it, to give it out. So that was my best bet on Bet On It. And like I said, it's been working really well. Had a really good best bet season. So let's keep it going.
And yes, corrected. It is Vikings +1.5 at home to the Packers. I was on last week's. Whoops. That is your best bet, just to give you some extra info to kind of help. The only concern for a lot of general public is going to be Green Bay is 9-1 against the spread. As we saw with the Cowboys, the against the spread records, they are going to fall apart at some point. Potentially, this is the week for that. Vikings, what I love about this team is that they still do have the #1 pass rush in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers, as good of a quarterback as he is, as much of a veteran as he has been in the league for so long, he has the experience. This season, Rodgers under pressure just under 4 yards per pass attempt compared to 8.3 when he's kept in a clean pocket. And a fun fact for you, because I know that you're such a Vikings fan, Kirk Fuckins. Did you hear that? I just had like a 30-minute conversation and I'm just like stumbling all over myself now. So I've been talking a while.
I've been there. I was there yesterday. I totally get it. Listen, we're through the home stretch of football season. Brains are starting to become
Brains are foggy. But Kirk Cousins, he has gone 4 straight games without throwing an interception. If he does happen to avoid an interception this week against the Packers, then Cousins will tie the single season record of most consecutive games without an interception. And it was he himself who did it back in the 2019 season. So do you think at all any stuff like that is on players' minds?
You know, I hope it's not. I hope that they don't follow little snippets like that, especially because he already holds the record. It's not like he needs to break this record. So I think he'll be okay. And honestly, look, let's talk about this Packers defense, because I just quickly gave all of the clout to the Vikings. This Packers defense has been exploited all season long. Kevin King is absolutely a liability, as we've seen the last couple of seasons. I do think that the Vikings are going to dink and dunk their way down the field, as we've seen several teams do against the Packers, very similarly as we saw week 1 with the Saints and Jameis Winston. We know that neither one of those guys are elite quarterbacks, but they're elite enough to get the W.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I fully agree with that. I do like the Vikings. You've had them on a teaser. I already put them on a teaser as well. I have not gone to the window with +1.5. I'm more of a teaser safe bet type of person, but I definitely love it. My best bet, I'm rolling with the Dallas Cowboys +2.5 at the Chiefs. I love the Cowboys in this spot. Everyone is so quick to get to the window for Kansas because look, they finally covered a spread and they're back and they just like completely demolished their opponent last week. Not so fast, in my opinion. The Raiders, their off the field issues, I believe, definitely are affecting their performance right now in this time of the season. Having Henry Ruggs not there, it's just a lot for this team to be handling under pressure. And the Chiefs may have just caught them at like a really bad time. And we don't know how long it's going to take for this team to kind of gel back together. Cowboys offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. I love him. I love what his play calling ability is. He's such a smart play caller, in my opinion. And I know that Mike McCarthy is the head coach. It's Kellen Moore behind the box. He's the one who's making the decisions. I like what he's doing with this offense. I believe that Kellen Moore is smart enough to utilize the ground game in running backs Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands and rush the ball, just dink and dunk, run out the clock. And if in case the Chiefs are back, then that's what their game plan should be. You don't want to get in a pissing contest with Mahomes. The Chiefs 0-5 against the spread at home this season, 0-9 against the spread in their past 9 home games in the regular season, 27th in the league in yards allowed per attempt, 24th in yards allowed per completion, 24th in touchdown rate, which tells me that the Cowboys are definitely going to be able to put up some points. Who is the better consistent team? That's Dallas. Who has the better defense? That's Dallas. What we have seen from the Chiefs over the course of the last few games is Mahomes has been impatient. He is having this problem where he's throwing the ball over, having these interceptions because instead of playing the boring football, let me get a few yards here, a few yards there, he wants to go for the deep passes when they're not there. Cowboys are the 4th best in takeaways. If you put that pressure on Mahomes, turnovers potentially could become an issue. I love the Cowboys plus 2.5. This one I definitely do love on the money line plus 120. Do you agree?
Absolutely. That's why I just wanted to double check that before I misspoke, because boy, did I misspeak yesterday because of that lovely brain fog. The Chiefs are actually headed into a bye week too. And teams that are going into their bye week, we know that there's not a ton of data that provides that. But last week was kind of a turning point, I think, for this Chiefs team. In theory, because now Mahomes now has 11 divisional wins under his belt, at least on the road. This is now they're back home. They just got to get out with the win and go into their bye week. I don't think it's going to be that simple. I'm with you on Dallas. I'm with you on Dallas plus 2.5. I'm with you on Dallas in a teaser. I'm with you on Dallas on the money line.
And that's what I went ahead and did. I did Cowboys and the Vikings for my teaser, and I love it. I am just like, should I be putting on more? No, bankroll management. So that's going to be your
Fair
best
enough.
bet. You have the Vikings and I have the Cowboys. Now for the other 3, this is where the problems are going to come into arise. I know that you and I made an agreement on a few things. I think the one that we can both strongly agree on is going to be Steelers. Let me make sure that the line that we are getting,
I believe it's 6.5 in the contest.
Correct. It is 6.5. I really don't care if it's Ben Roethlisberger or if it's Mason Rudolph. I don't care. I don't think that there's much of a drop off. This to me is more about the defense. Neither team is successful in running the ball. Both defensive strengths are against the pass. You have Pittsburgh running back Najee Harris. He is starting to be heavily utilized more and more in each game. He touched the ball 20 plus times in 7 straight games. And the opponents, they are running the ball against the Chargers at the highest rate in the league. So teams know to run on the Chargers. That is the offense that you want to employ. Chew up the clock and don't let Justin Herbert get that ball. Plus, Pittsburgh has the lowest rate in the league for touchdowns allowed. For me, this is more of a defensive game. And if I like the under on 47, then points become a premium. I like the plus 6.5 with the Steelers. What do you think?
This was totally going to be my best bet, Pam. But I don't like to give out and mistakes have been made in the past where I give out a best bet on one show on Wednesday and then I do another show on Saturday and people get upset because things change, information changes. And I decided that the Vikings was my favorite play on Wednesday based on Wednesday. And then I'm going to ride it through the rest of the weekend. But in reality, Steelers was really, really, I was going to make a case for it, but there was not a line out at the time. I do think it's going to be Mason Rudolph. I do think that Mason is a capable quarterback. Please remember, last week I was sitting at dinner in Pittsburgh when they announced Big Ben, COVID, out. And I'm going, wait, what? What just happened here? Now I know we like the Lions, so that was a good thing. Pittsburgh and the survivor with the freaking tie. Not a good thing. Why couldn't they just kick that game-winning field goal? That being said, it is what it is. Now Mason is getting first team reps this week, which he wasn't last week. Right. This is something that I think that Mike Tomlin does really well. He manages expectations, and that is of his players. And it's something that Bill Belichick does really well with Mac Jones. I think that this Steelers team is going to be very undervalued considering what happened last week in regards to tying the Lions. And you're right. Najee Harris should be able to run the ball against the Chargers. If you haven't noticed, my two best bets the last 2 weeks have been against the Chargers, and there's a reason for that. This is a Chargers team whose trajectory was going really high, and I'm going to catch them on this downward spiral before the market catches up. I'm going against the Chargers 2 weeks in a row. I actually really love the Steelers this week.
And I know that people are going to overreact. As soon as Big Ben is officially announced out, this line may get to 7. Another player that could be in question mark right now is the Steelers maybe without leading pass rusher and TJ Watt, which is keeping me off of taking Pittsburgh on like the money line right now. I may get there, but the Steelers, they were without Watt actually against the Bengals and still kept Joe Burrow, who is a great quarterback, under 200 passing yards, and the Bengals to just 24 points. They did end up losing that game by more than 6.5. But I think this is just a situation where I like this defense. It's coaching the Chargers at a low spot. I love it. Do you want to put it in our card?
I absolutely do.
Regardless of who's at quarterback and TJ Watt.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a ton of value here because I think regardless.
That's caked into the line.
Guys, what's that?
I say all that, the injuries, the players, the quarterback, all that's already factored in.
Absolutely. It's baked in the cake here. And I think we're going to see this one hit 5.5 here shortly. I'm actually looking at the odds screen as we're doing the show. I'm not saying that Big Ben's going to be a go, but I'm with you. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So then our fourth game. So then we have 3 games. This is actually going pretty easier than I thought it would. The 4 and 5 is going to be the problem. 4 and 5 is going to be the problem. You and I sent a couple of things that we liked, and I'm not sure that I agree with them anymore. One of the ones that we liked was Bears +5 at home against the Ravens. I no longer can do this based off of last night's game. Thursday Night Football, you had the Patriots against the Falcons, and Falcons may have been the right side. You play that 100 times, more often than not, the +7 is going to hit. But when it comes down to quarterback play and you need this quarterback to do everything perfect in order for you to get a cover, I'm not sure Justin Fields is that guy. I no longer love this because my thinking on this game is, do I trust Justin Fields? Baltimore has allowed a league high 12 offensive touchdowns from outside the red zone. Justin Fields in Chicago, they have just 1 offensive touchdown from outside of the red zone. The Ravens are blitzing the 3rd highest rate in the league. Fortunately, though, good for the Bears over the last 2 games. Fields is 11 of 18 for 61%, just over 10 yards per pass after averaging 6 yards per pass attempt prior, except the situation against the Bucs, and it may have been just that it was one of his early games. Bucs blitz higher rate, just like the Baltimore Ravens, and Fields had 2 interceptions. That was a very bad game. So I'm not sure which version of Justin Fields we're going to get. And we need him to play a perfect Justin Fields game in order to do that. Can you sway me back into feeling confident about the Bears? What are you thinking?
I'm looking right now because I thought I had a note written down about this team. Bears play the Lions on Thanksgiving next week. Okay, here's what it is. The Ravens do play the Browns next week. We all know what a big divisional rivalry the whole AFC North is. That's the only reason why I was actually considering the Bears here. I thought it was just a little bit too many points for Baltimore to be laying on the road, but you're right. I have to trust Matt Nagy. I have to trust Justin Fields, and I have to trust that this defense is going to be able to come up big. And that's kind of my concern, right? So the Bears' resume is just not great. Look, they have wins over the Bengals, the Lions. I mean, this is just not a team that, like you said before, Pam, we like the dogs because we want to see if those dogs have a shot to win, right? And last week in college football, I gave out 6 dogs, 4 out of 6 won outright. And those are the type of scenarios I want with the NFL as well. Now, the NFL has a lot less parity than college football does. So the upsets aren't as frequent. We know that to start the year, there wasn't a ton of those. My problem is here, I just can't see the Bears winning this game. And that concerns me, getting under a touchdown here.
Okay, so then let's leave it off because I don't like it because you nailed that's it perfectly. Can the Bears win out? Can a team, can an underdog? This is why you and I bet underdogs. Can they win outright? If the answer is in our minds no, move it along. I'm not here for a barely cover. I don't want you to lose
Yeah,
by
I don't
4
have
when
to
the line
sweat
is
the whole
5.
game.
Yeah,
Either just
exactly.
they get blown out or they win outright. That's just
And then
I'd
we're going
rather
to be
have it be that
texting
way.
each other, holy heck, why didn't we just leave it off when they're down 21? And now you're hoping that Justin Fields can score a touchdown.
Exactly.
So let's move it along. What do you think about the Colts +7 at the Bills? I think I'm actually surprised that this line is 7. I'm not sure what it would be, what myself would make it otherwise. But this to me, this is going to be Bills versus the Colts running back and Jonathan Taylor. Taylor leads all backs in yardage gained on carries of 10 plus yards or more. With 540 rushing yards in those carries. 100 yards or more is the next closest back. The Bills defense, supposedly they are the 4th best in yards per carry, but they haven't faced any good ground teams at all this season, except for one, and that was against Tennessee. I think running back Derrick Henry is very similar to that of Jonathan Taylor. They're kind of two of the same players, very, very similar run offense to that of the Colts, and they lost that game 34-31, allowed 143 yards to Derrick Henry, though 76 was off of one big play, which Jonathan Taylor is very capable of those big explosive plays. 3 rushing scores. So why does this matter? Because Taylor has had the best red zone usage in the league. He has a rushing score in 7 straight games and has had 2 games of multiple scores. And I believe Taylor is fully capable of doing the same type of damage Henry did to the Bills. What do you think about the Colts as an underdog?
Yeah, this is my only problem, right? I would love to be like absolutely 100%. My problem is the Colts are just kind of this middle of the road team, right? And they've been so bad as underdogs. They've been so great to me whenever I like them as a favorite, but as an underdog, they're 2-11 in their last 13 against the spread as an underdog. But I'm with you. I do think Jonathan Taylor should be able to run the ball against his Buffalo defense. Colts, come on. Losing those games to the Ravens and the Titans is almost absurd. They shouldn't have lost those games, but yet they did. And that concerns me. That means Buffalo has a late score. We don't get the cover. But yeah, I'm with you, Pam. I think this is too many points.
We can consider that as an option. Was there any other game that you loved that you think should make it? You and I are in disagreement about San Francisco and the Jags. I think San Francisco is going to absolutely demolish the Jags. We can skip over that if you don't agree.
I don't love the line move. I'll be honest with you. Coming off that key number of 7. If we were getting 7 in the contest, I would fight for the Jags, but at 6.5, I don't think they're worth fighting for.
Oh, well,
I mean,
yeah.
That's my biggest problem there. I like Seattle. I put them in a teaser. I'm debating on getting to the window with them +2. That's kind of my issue here is we know that Arizona, whether it's Kyler Murray, whether it's Colt McCoy, they've been pretty quiet about what's going on here. Russell he probably couldn't have looked worse last week. Let's be honest, right? And that's kind of my one thought process is what's the difference between the 2 weeks? Seattle should be a 2-point home favorite here. In a normal season, Russell Wilson's cruising, they're -2.5. Look, the Seahawks have been really great as an underdog and especially at home. So I do like Seattle. My concern is 2 is really kind of at that point, just take the money line. Do I think Seattle can beat Arizona? Yes.
Okay. For the contest, the line is 2.
And that's really all I've got. I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of sharp guys trying to make a case for the Texans. I can't do it. I would love to make a case for that same Raiders team that burned us on Sunday night. I do think they're being undervalued here, but as we mentioned with their off the field issues, those really concern me. And until this locker room gets right, I don't want to back this team with my money. And
I know that we always look at dogs. How about considering a favorite? What do you think about the Bucks at home to the Giants?
In a bounce back spot?
So the Tampa Bay at home, very freaking good team at home. Tampa Bay on the road, we've seen they're pretty terrible. The Bucks, they average 41 points scored at home. That's a league high while only putting up 23 points on the road. Bucks quarterback Tom Brady, he leads in passing touchdowns with 27 total. 18 of those 27 have been scored at home. In 4 home games, Brady has thrown for either 4 or 5 passing touchdowns. And Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, yeah, he's pretty good, better on the road than he is at home, but he has just 3 red zone touchdowns in 34 attempts. So now if you have a playback play from behind situation. I don't think that the Giants are going to be able to put up points to catch up. I think Tom Brady definitely is in a good bounce back spot coming back at home.
Tom has just been atrocious in primetime games. I said this yesterday when I was talking to Megan, and I said, God bless. I mean, this man goes to bed at 8 p.m., eats his vegan salad, and drinks like a decaffeinated green tea. That is my only concern. In theory, the Bucs they're winning by almost 30 points on average at home. I think it's like 28.6. It's been insane that they've been crushing. If this was a Sunday afternoon game, I would lay 15 with this team. But because it is a Monday night game, I'm going, come on, Tom, can't you just like drink a nice cup of coffee and get yourself some energy? Look, if this is kind of where we're at and we've got to take one more. Yes, I'm with you. I do think that the Bucs in a bounce back situation makes a lot of sense, especially against, Jason Garrett, offensive coordinator of the year. He's the worst. He is literally the worst. I know you said you didn't follow the NFL prior to that, but when he was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I loved to bet against this man. I don't know why he has an offensive coordinator job in the NFL. He drives me absolutely bonkers with some of his play calling.
Well, I definitely don't dislike this. I know there's factors like, oh, it's no Gronk and whatever. All of that's already factored.
It is already factored. And honestly, I don't think the Bucs have done bad without Gronk. I mean, they have 3 tight ends on their roster for a reason, all of which have been very serviceable. That's just kind of one of those scenarios where I think it just, those double-digit favorites, as we mentioned, correlate with that under. I think I could easily see it being like a 34-10 game, Pam, on Monday night.
Exactly. So do you want to put that in?
Yeah, we'll put the Bucs in.
Well, look at us who bets nothing but dogs with the double-digit favorite. This is what happens.
Double-digit favorites have been absolutely crushing this year up until Tom and the boys got beat outright in Washington last week.
Okay, well, what do you think about Miami at the Jets? I
hate that game. That is like the freaking toilet bowl game of the week. Who is Miami to be laying 3.5? Who is Miami to be laying 3.5? And I will not bet the Jets. I will not bet the Jets. I'm not doing it.
I was thinking of taking Miami because
I know
anybody against Flacco any day.
I can't even begin to fathom laying 3.5 on the road with this team. I understand the rationale behind it. Man. Sure,
okay,
Miami should listen. How about this?
We will take
Miami on the road here.
What?
This 3-7 team on the road. I want to do it. No, I want you to talk me into taking Miami. Let's do it.
Why?
What else are we going to do? I'm not laying 10 with the Browns.
Well, okay, there's a couple of options that we have. We didn't talk about the Saints and the Eagles.
Okay.
I initially liked the Saints. I'm not sure if I still love that.
I love the Saints, but not necessarily this week.
The line moved against me. I used the Saints for my Yahoo best bet of the week, and the line moved against me. So whoops. I don't know if that's going to work out anymore.
Every single week, I need to figure out who the sharp group is. I wonder if they're the same ones in 2016, betting the Browns every single week, because for the love of God, I don't understand. Every week for the last 5 weeks, somebody has been betting the Eagles and they've been right one time. I don't understand this line move.
So I do love the Saints. Why? Because the Eagles, they're persistent on being a run team. That is their MO. That is their identity. And now you're going up against the number 1 run defense in the NFL in the Saints. And I know that, we have the quarterback and whatever, yada, yada, yada. This is going to be, how good is Jalen Hurts with his arm? Is he going to be pretty great? He could very well be, but I still like a run team is now having to throw the ball. What does that mean for me? Turnovers. And we have seen how good the Saints are with turnovers. And Simeon, he's doing actually pretty well. He passed for 298 yards last week, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This is going to be if he can continue, this could be his 3rd start in a row with 2+ passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The quarterback situation for the Saints is fine. Whether it's Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram who take the load, the Eagles have been absolutely gassed by running backs this season, 20th against the run, 24th in rushing scores allowed. So I did like the Saints. What scared me wasn't seeing the line move.
Say that Kamara's going to play. I'm looking right now. I'm not obviously getting anything definitive. He did practice today. So that's good news for the Saints. As you mentioned, I do think that Mark Ingram is a very capable running back. So no disrespect to him, but I would love to see Kamara in the lineup here. And I'm with you. Are we getting over? What are we getting? 2.5 in the contest?
It's 2.
2. Okay. Well,
Saints, it's 1.5. Damn it.
I don't think it matters. I think the Saints go in here, win this game. Saints have been a great underdog. They've been really great against sub 500 teams. And why? That's because Sean Payton's a really great coach. Nick Sirianni, no offense to him. Him and his staff is some of the least experienced coaching staff in the NFL. Like I said, if you give me Alvin Kamara back, I think this is absolutely a play here on the Saints. And I would.
So would you feel better than
the freaking Dolphins?
Okay, I was gonna say that was my next question. Are we gonna take Tua on the road?
No, I want nothing to do with Tua. I would take Jacoby Brissett on the road before I would take Tua on the road. How about that?
I'm gonna not take Tua. You're exactly right. And then I feel better than that over the Bears. I can't do the Texans. I thought we both initially liked it, and I was like, what am I doing?
There's a lot of people I really respect on the Texans this week, Pam. Just like they were on Washington football team last week. For me,
that's another game we didn't talk about. Washington and Carolina.
No.
Which one is more of a fluke? Carolina coming in and doing well, or Washington coming in?
Cam against his old coach. It is just a complete stay away for me on both of those teams. I would love to make a case for Ron Rivera and Washington football team, but I think you're right here. We both like the Saints. We talked about it earlier.
Why force anything else?
Exactly. We got it. We got a 5-0 right here.
Okay, well then this is our 5 against the spread contest picks. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Kelly's best bet is Vikings plus 1.5 at home to the Packers. My best bet is the Cowboys plus 2.5 at the Chiefs. And then our 3, we're going to do Steelers plus 6.5 at the Chargers. Giants at Jesus. I'm just going to re-edit all of this shit because well, then that does it for our 5 against the spread contest picks. For Kelly's best bet, it is Vikings plus 1.5 at home to the Packers. My best bet is Cowboys plus 2.5 at the Chiefs. Our 3, Steelers plus 6.5 at Chargers. Bucks lane minus 11. Look at us who love dogs taking a double-digit favorite. Bucks minus 11 at home to the Giants. And then Saints plus 1.5 at the Eagles. Woo! This is going to be a worry one. Do make sure to follow Kelly on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas, and you can follow me on Twitter at Pamela M35. Those are our 5 against spread contest picks, and that does it for another episode of Sack of Stats. Kelly, believe we're going 5.
We got it. Pam, we got to let everybody know what's our plan for next week. Are we doing the show live from K-State, Texas?
Also, Kelly, by the way, is coming to Austin, and we are going to have some fun. We're going to the K-State, Texas game. I'm going to be a sad Longhorn. I have not had alcohol and I cannot remember how long. I got permission and from my bodybuilding coach, and she says, yes, Pam, you can have a day. So girl, we are going to have some fun.
I'm ready for it.
We will do a live show. We will figure it out. We got a few days to figure it out, but do make sure to tune in for next week because it's going to be a good one. Until then, goodbye and good luck with your bets.